Hello, I'm Nola, and I'd love to welcome you back to my channel. If this is your first time, I hope you'll stay a while. Today is Sunday, December the 28th, 2025, and my message for today is about spiritual awakening, because this is a term that has been used so much over the last few years, and I felt led to speak about it today. And so I'm going to start with the question, okay, what if the version of spiritual awakening you were taught was never the whole truth? And that's not because spiritual awakening isn't real. It is. But because what you've been shown is only a highlight reel. And no one prepared you for what comes after the confusion, the emotional crashes, the relationships that quietly fall away, or the moments you start wondering if something is wrong with you, even though something else feels deeply right, or something feels deeply right. So I've been on this journey for a while, actually since I was 11 years old, I believe. But that's further down the line, I will address that. And so one of the reasons so many of you, of us, feel lost during awakening is because no one really talks about how it actually begins. Most people think spiritual awakening starts because you read the right book, or you found the right teacher, the right church, the right spiritual um, um, place to attend a retreat, perhaps, or you had some dramatic spiritual experience. Okay, that's what most of us think or feel and believe. But for most people, most of us, awakening doesn't begin with expansion. It begins with disruption. And it often starts after a loss, perhaps the death of someone you love, the end of a relationship, a career or project that suddenly collapses, losing a home, having a major health scare. There's any number of things that are major losses. Or sometimes it's just the quiet realization that the life you worked so hard to build no longer fits who you are, who I am, who we are, just no longer fits. Sometimes it's dramatic, and often it is subtle. But what's really happening is this: the story you were living inside stops making sense, right? For me, this process didn't start as an adult. It began when I was very young, around 11 years old, when the world suddenly divided into right and wrong, saved and lost. I didn't have the language for it then, but something in me knew that fear-based belonging wasn't truth. That moment planted a question in my body long before my mind could name it, long before I even had the vocabulary to express what I was feeling and what I was thinking. And there was another moment, or many other moments much later, waking in the morning at 3 or 3:30 a.m. or 3:33 a.m. and sitting on my bedroom floor in the dark, crying, weeping, exhausted, wondering if I was losing my mind or finally finding it. I had been doing everything right, according to me. I was reading books, I was following the teachers, I was doing the practices, and instead of feeling better, I felt worse, more anxious, more questions, more disconnected, and more alone. Online, everyone was talking about their high vibe lives. their quantum leaps, their instant manifestations, and everything looked peaceful and beautiful. And there I was on the floor at 3 in the morning, wondering why my awakening looked nothing like theirs. I genuinely thought I was failing at something I didn't even fully understand. But here's what I didn't know then. I wasn't failing. I was following the wrong map. There's a song by the Eagles. I forget what the name of that song is. And it for a long time, I've loved this song. And it says, when all of us are following the wrong God's home. Personally, I was following the wrong map. A map that said that awakening should be blissful, peaceful, and easy. A map that skips over the part where everything you thought you knew starts to fall apart. The version the version of awakening that's being sold online isn't awakening at all. It's spiritual bypassing, perhaps just with better marketing. It skips grief, it skips the confusion, it skips the identity loss, and it leaves people feeling broken when we are actually right on time. And real awakening, from what I've learned, I've spoken to a lot of people, and personally, it doesn't start with bliss. It starts when your comfort ends. Remember, we spoke about earlier losing someone you love dearly, perhaps a career, any amount of things, or any number of things that means a lot to us. And when the life you built suddenly feels too small for all you are becoming, when you can't pretend anymore, even if pretending kept everyone else comfortable. So if you're like me, and if you're in that place right now, tired, confused, feeling that your heart just feels heavy, your body feels heavy, you are perhaps emotional, I want you to hear this clearly. Nothing has gone wrong, and everything has gone wrong. Everything is falling into place. You're not doing this wrong, and you are not alone in this part. Even if it feels that way, you're not alone. So I'm going to leave you with this today to think about. And in the next video, because I will be doing a part 2, I'll talk about what is actually happening when this begins, what happens in your body, in your nervous system, and in your sense of self. But for now, just know this. You're not failing at awakening. You were just given the wrong story. Thank you for being here today. And if this has resonated with you, please consider liking, subscribing, sharing with someone you think could use or benefit from this. And once again, I must remind you to be kind. Kindness is truly important. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. Everyone is dealing with something that none of us know anything about. I know this has been the holiday season, or this is the holiday season. If you celebrated Christmas, I hope you've had a very peaceful Christmas celebration. And as we head towards 2026, I wish you every good thing, and most of all, clarity, peace, and kindness. Bye for now.